Welcome to the 7 Shifts to Managing and Reducing Client Conflict webinar. This webinar is for business people who are done with losing time and money in fruitless disagreements with their clients. People who want to learn how to focus more on their profitable clients and filter out clients who are not a good fit. Also, to better manage conflict when it does come up, which is inevitable. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about how to have a business that is fun and profitable even when there is conflict, how to achieve success with our clients even when they are upset. We're going to learn how to create filters to reduce clients that are a bad fit even as you learn to manage the ones that you have. We're going to learn how to listen and validate clients even when you don't agree with their complaints. We're going to learn how to develop systems that will save you time even though it seems like you have no time, and how to transform an unhappy client into a raving fan even when they seem like they can never be turned around. My promise to you is that you're going to learn how to make money while managing client, that you're going to learn how to lead your team to victory in the face of the worst possible conflict. You will learn what you can manage in conflict so that you and your client can both win. You will learn how to interact with your client so that they feel satisfied and have their needs met in their work with you. How to get clear about the kinds of clients that are a good fit and also the ones that are maybe less than a good fit. How to draw more clients that are a better fit and filter out the clients who are not such a good fit. How to manage conflict and convert disgruntled clients to fans. How to develop the systems that you need to move forward in reducing conflict and managing it when it does arise, and why and how to charge more to better support your clients, yourself, and your family. And charging more is important, make no mistake. The house rules are that there are no quick fixes. You must take personal responsibility. The solution is simple, but not always easy, and it will require hard work at times. Success in this program is 100% up to you and your level of engagement. So I'm curious, does this sound like you? Do you worry that you will go through your messages and have to deal with another disgruntled and unreasonable client? Do you wake up dreading looking at your email? Do you feel like you're spending more time dealing with client problems than the work that you love? Do you feel like your work is getting more and more bogged down in client misunderstandings? Do you have days that seem to be going along fine and then suddenly a client explodes when you have no idea? Do you go to bed at night worrying about unresolved client problems? Do you feel like your clients are pushing against your values from time to time? That no matter what you do, your work will be characterized by conflict rather than success, that this will go on forever? Well, the good news is this is not the real problem. The real problem is that you haven't made the 7 shifts. The 7 shifts are 7 simple steps that are going to completely alter your relationship to conflict and help you to welcome it as a positive thing that's going to grow your business, grow you, and lead to client satisfaction. Once you make them, you will begin to see yourself and your work as new entities with a future. You will learn to set the tone for your work and stand for what is truly important to you. You will wake up in the morning looking forward to work and even the problems that come up in the day. You will rediscover the passion in your work and your life. You will learn to create stronger client relationships and to be happier in the process. You will build a relationship based on the fit of your products and their needs, as well as your values, which is super, super important. Who am I? Basically, my name is Rich Heller. I'm a conflict coach with 30 years of experience managing conflict in business and a lifetime of managing conflict in relationships. I'm a trained mediator, a certified professional coach with an MSW, and decades of experience as a business consultant. I discovered the 7 shifts in my business work. I was developing a multi-employee business in a couple of different markets which demanded super high levels of client management in both markets in order to grow and be successful. Over time, we developed the first techniques for managing conflict in our business, and we started to systemize those techniques. We developed systems for filtering out clients that we didn't want and bringing in the clients that we did. We developed systems for training people in our company to manage conflicts when they came up. So let's start talking about those shifts. The first shift is you need to know yourself. You need to know your own triggers, your own hot buttons. Let's face it, we like to think that the problem is the other person. We like to think that if they were just different kinds of people, if they weren't complainers or whiners or whatever, that it would be better. But the fact is, we can't control them and we can't change them, and they are our client. So if we have clients that are showing up in a way that's unpleasant for us, that's pushing a button for us, we need to identify what those buttons are. We need to get that we can't control them, but we possibly can control what's going on between our own ears. Managing conflict is really about managing our own reaction to people, places, and things. It's about noticing our reactions and asking ourselves, why am I reacting this way? Why is this annoying? When you think of some of the greatest teachers, and let's reference some good ones here: Muhammad, Buddha, Jesus. What we revere in these people is the calm with which they met any situation. What we revere in them is that nothing seemed to faze them. What made them great teachers is they knew who they were. And on the outside, they showed calm in the face of conflict. On the inside, they had all kinds of feelings that they were managing. When faced with anger and frustration in others, we all go to fight, flight, or play dead. Let's face it, in business, when you start fighting your clients, it's over. Like, you cannot win fighting your clients. If you run away from your clients, they're still not going to be satisfied. It doesn't work. So that just leaves one thing. That leaves playing dead. So when we talk about playing dead, that doesn't mean that your client goes, "Rah!" and that you just lay down and go, though that might baffle them. It isn't going to get the problem solved. Playing dead in this instance, go back to those great teachers, means that on the surface, the waters are not disturbed. There may be all kinds of things happening underneath, but on the surface, we show no disturbance. On the surface, we are not showing anger and frustration. On the surface, we're only interested in what's going on. We meet the conflict with what I like to call courageous listening. Courageous listening requires knowing ourselves, our buttons, our triggers. These triggers or buttons were probably installed in our childhood. It might require some introspection. It might mean talking to a therapist, but it probably doesn't. The chances are that you can identify this. You're probably aware of a half a dozen of them. If you just sat down and wrote it out, you'd probably know. It's noting what kinds of behaviors push our buttons so that when people try to push them, we've already pulled the wires on them. It doesn't mean on the inside we're not going to have a reaction. It means on the outside, we're going to show something else. Somebody says something that pushes my buttons. I notice it. I take a breath. On the outside, I continue to listen courageously about the problem. My words and my actions are driven by my commitment to the client. And so how do I know what the client wants? The second shift is to know our clients. A recent Forbes study showed that 8 out of 10 businesses failed because they did not really understand their clients. I'm going to take a quick drink here. Thank you. Knowing and understanding our clients, what they're really buying from us, what's driving them, what their expectations are, what their buttons and triggers might be, is the second shift. And when we really understand them and get that they are not buying our product, they're buying the problem that we're solving for them, that's when we're really meeting needs. That's when we're really meeting expectations. That's when we're really delivering. And that's when conflicts get reduced. When we understand what they expect, we'll be informed as to how to act, manage, and or adjust to their expectations. When we have some awareness of what their triggers and buttons are, we are even better equipped to avoid pitfalls that might be created in poor communications. And we're going to have more satisfying interactions on both sides. In order to get to this understanding, we engage in intensive segmentation work to see what are the common traits of our best clients, our second best clients, and our worst clients. What that looks like is we're going to write out who are our best clients, the people we most enjoy working with, and what are their qualities. What are the things that we really enjoy with them? On the top of the list is going to be low conflict, of course. But it's also going to be probably things like they pay on time, because when people are happy, they pay on time. But then there's going to be other things. They're maybe really clear about what they want. They're good communicators. They are forgiving if we drop the ball. They make $1 million or more. They live in a home worth $500,000 plus. They have 2 children. They're a member of a club. Maybe they're in a specific segment of work. But we want to really look at what are the qualities of these people. We also want to look at what are the qualities of our least favorite clients. And we want to look at what are the qualities of the clients that are in the middle. These are our A, B, and C clients. And having this knowledge is going to better inform us what it is to look for. And we might even learn how to take those C clients and move them up to a B, and those B clients and move them up to an A. And it's going to give us the tools, the guidelines that we need later on to start filtering out C clients and bringing in more A clients. And after all, that's what we all want. We want those clients who we love working with, who don't mind paying. The third shift is always speaking to your client's needs. So we've gone to great lengths to get to know our clients, to see what they're about. Now we want to speak to those needs always. We don't want to boast about how amazing we are unless that amazingness relates to their need. What people make the mistake of doing when they meet with their clients frequently is they get out there and they do a whole song and dance about, oh, we're so good at this, and we have all these amazing qualities, and oh, we've satisfied so many people. They don't care, not very much anyway. What they care about is, have you helped people with their problem? What they care about is, do you understand what their problem is? If you can say to them, oh, yes, I really understand the problem that you're having. I understand. And let me tell you, this product or service that I have is totally going to take care of it. And let me tell you what qualities of this service are most going to help you with this problem. And as soon as they know that you understand it, they're going to be thrilled. They're going to buy into it. And then you're going to demonstrate it to them, because why would you boast about it if you couldn't do it, right? You're going to also be better at speaking to their needs when you're marketing. And when you're speaking to the needs of your A clients when you're marketing, you start to weed out automatically people who are less than a good fit, because they're like, oh, he doesn't understand my problem. He understands someone else's problem. You also want to be speaking to their needs very much so when you contract with them. You want to make sure, and by contracting, I mean both verbally and in writing. Everything that we say to our clients, they hear as a promise. If we say to them even maybe or probably, they hear that as a promise. We want to be very careful that we only talk about what we're actually going to do and do not live in the world of maybes. We want to make sure that when we talk about what we actually do, that it's always in the context of their needs. When there is a conflict, we want to speak to the needs that are coming up in that conflict, and we want to assure them that we truly have their best interests in mind, that we are more concerned about keeping our promise to them and meeting their needs than even making a profit, which may sound like totally alien to some people. But think about it. If you're really meeting somebody's needs and you don't make money, what's better? Is it better to not make money and have someone come out going, wow, he went above and beyond. She did so much more. They dropped the ball and it must have cost them a fortune, but they made it right. Or would you make a profit and have them walking away going, I'm not very satisfied. They charged me the money, but I don't really get it. The way to have a raving fan is when there's a problem to go above and beyond. Shift 4. Learn how to effectively manage conflicts. When conflict does come up, it is vital that we know how to listen with very big ears and truly understand what's driving the conflict. Listening means you're not sitting there going over your laundry list while they're telling you what the problem is. You need to make sure that when someone is reviewing something that they're less than pleased with, that you are not mentally flying away, that you are not mentally going away. And you want to make sure that you're not defending yourself. You just want to listen. Listen means not just getting the details of the problem, but also the feeling that's driving it. And so there they are, they're talking to you about a problem. They're saying, oh, I'm so pissed off. You promised me that you were going to get this to me at a certain day and time, and you were late. Well, what you could say to them is, all right, what I hear is that it was really important to you that you get this on this day and this time, and that you're angry about it. That would be really basic listening. Or you could say, I hear that not having it on the day and time that you had expected is bringing up concerns, feelings, maybe fears about the future. That's the deeper feeling. And they're going to say to you, yeah, you got it. Or maybe they're going to say to you, no, that's not it at all. And they're going to say something else. And you're going to do some more courageous, deep listening so that you can say back what it is that they're feeling. And you can say back the facts to them. You don't need to say to them, I heard that from you that when I didn't keep my promise. You don't want to go there. You want to go with what was the impact to them? What did they experience? They experienced not getting the thing on the day and time that they expected. That's what they experienced. We also need to be able to express what we are hearing to them so that they know we are really hearing them. So just to beat a dead horse, that means really exploring the issue before you go fixing it. So if they come to you and say, gosh darn it, Rich, you didn't deliver the webinar at 4 p.m. on Friday as promised. You delivered it at 4:30. I'm not going to say to them, here's another webinar. Oh, yeah, I'll give you 2 more webinars. What I'm going to do is explore the problem before I try and give them anything back. Because the truth is that 98% of clients who are unhappy, they just want to be heard. Like, we live in a society where so few people actually feel heard. How many times have you gone to a helpline and waited and waited and waited and then gotten the person and they've been beaten down so many times by so many unhappy clients that they're not even listening to you? And then they say, well, sir, we are authorized to give you $10 towards your next $20 purchase. And so you haven't been heard. And not only that, they're smacking you in the face by saying, you have to spend more money to get value, the value that you already paid that you didn't get. When you go to fix the problem without hearing the person first, they feel just like that. They may get something better than $10 on a $20 purchase. Maybe you're going to give them something completely new and different that they didn't even contract for. But you know what? They're really not going to appreciate it until they know that you heard them. Because when a client doesn't feel heard, they're concerned that it's going to happen again. If they think you are not really listening, they're concerned that more mistakes are going to happen and that you are just on automatic. And that's why it's vital, absolutely vital, that you hear them first before you solve the problem. So once the anger dissipates and you really understand the triggering event, then you go to amending the situation as quickly as possible. You might even be willing to give a little extra as gratitude for what you learned in the process, what you learned about holes in your systems, mistakes that an employee is making, or even balls that you're dropping, and tell them that, hey, you know what? I so appreciate you bringing this to my attention. I'm going to give you this as an added bonus. So here we are, finally, my favorite thing, systems. Systems are what ensure that we're not making the same mistakes over and over and over. Systems are what ensure that when we hire new people, that they know how to do things so that they're not making the mistakes that we made earlier on. Systems are what ensure that we know where to put a file. How many times have you not been able to find a file because you don't have a filing system, or because you're making the filing system as you go along? So systems are what inform us on how to do things, regularly, inform others on how to do things. It's also what tells our clients that we care. We care enough to make sure that we're going to keep our promise, and we have the systems to back it up. The problem is no one has the time for systems, and systems are super vital to reproducing good results as businesses grow. In fact, businesses will not grow beyond a certain point without systems, because without systems, you become institutional knowledge. When I or you are the institutional knowledge for the business, everybody's got to come to you for what to do next. And after a while, you can't even do your own job because you are the procedures manual. Basic systems are what ensure uniform products and services. Basic systems are what makes it easier to train people and to learn how to manage conflict. Basic systems are a policy manual and a procedures manual. Now, policy manuals are usually driven by the law, and most policy manuals are fairly uniform across the board, right? So policy manuals are going to require that people get time and a half after a certain number of hours, because the law requires that people get time and a half after a certain number of hours. Policy manuals are going to have things in them to ensure that you don't have liability. They're going to have things in them that reassure people when you're hiring them that you hire anyone who's a good fit for the job. It doesn't matter what their race, creed, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender, religion, whatever. None of that's going to matter. Whether they have children or don't, none of that's going to matter. Policy manuals are what are the structure around which fairness happens within the company. It's not what drives how things are done. It's what makes sure that the values and the principles that the company live by, somewhat driven by the law, somewhat driven by ourselves, are written and explicit so that anyone can go to them at any time and know where they stand. And policy manuals are super important for employees because they want to know that they're standing on bedrock. They want to know that your business was built on a strong foundation. They want to know that you care enough to be explicit about your values and principles. They want to know that you care enough to tell them what they're entitled to and what they're not entitled to. They want to know that if they have a child, how much time they're going to get when that child appears in the world. They want to know that if they get sick, how much time they are or are not going to get and why. They want to know these things. Procedures manuals are what make sure that stuff happens. And procedures manuals are the true stumbling block for most organizations because that's what takes super amount of time to create. Creating procedures manuals ultimately requires writing out how you do everything. I mean, a good procedures manual is going to say, if you run out of pens, go to the supply closet and get a pen. Or go to Helga, the supply master, and she will get a pen for you. And then Helga's got a procedure that says, when you're down to your last 3 pens, make sure that you go to Staples and buy more. Procedures manuals are that details. Procedures manuals say, who's going to clean the office, or how to hire someone who's cleaning the office, or how to hire people. Procedures manuals specifically are going to tell you how to manage conflict, how to make sure that conflict doesn't happen. Procedures manuals are going to tell you how to do the first 4 shifts that we talk about, making sure that people understand themselves, that they understand their clients, that they meet their clients' expectations, that they're managing expectations. But again, the problem is, who's got time to write a procedures manual? So the short step for writing a procedures manual, the starting point, would be to start proceduralizing the stumbling blocks, the lessons learned, the conflicts. You get into a conflict with a client, you learn something. So after you write out the procedure, at the end of the conflict, you figured out what the problem was. You write out the procedure, you write out what happened, what you're going to do in the future to make sure that that doesn't happen. You write out the procedure. if you haven't already, for how to manage the conflict, making sure that you understand them, that you really hear what they're saying, and what kind of amending to do in those situations. And every time that happens, you write it out, and you'll start to build a procedures manual in pieces. And eventually you're going to find that you have pages of procedures, and someone's going to be able to organize them. It might be you, it might be somebody you hire. The next time you hire somebody, sit out and write out a procedure for how do you hire people. The next time you fire someone, write a procedure for how you fire someone. As you do this, you will start compiling a procedures manual. It's kind of like you've been writing a blog for 30 years, and suddenly you realize that that blog is a book. It's not in the right order, though. So you're going to start putting it in the right order. Another way, of course, is to hire someone from the outside to do that for you. All right, let's move on. The next shift is to charge more money. This seemed backwards, right? Oh my God, who's going to hire me if I charge more money? But think about it this way. A Mercedes G-Class is $125K. It's basically a giant Land Rover, but it's got super bells and whistles. A Land Rover Defender is $50K. Why is there a $75,000 difference between the two of them? Structurally, there's not a huge difference. There might be some engineering differences. The reason is they sell to different client bases. The person who buys the G-Class is not going to buy a Defender. The person who buys the Defender is not going to buy the G-Class. They're not exactly the same vehicle, but they're super similar. You need to decide, are you going to be a Hyundai? Are you going to be a Toyota? Are you going to be a Lexus? Are you going to be an Infiniti? Are you going to be Volkswagen? Are you going to be an Audi, a BMW? Are you going to be a Porsche? What are you going to be? And if you're going to be that, you need to charge for that. And you probably have clients who look at you as a Lexus, but you feel like a Hyundai. When you charge more, you dress better, you live better, you take care of your clients better. You don't have to charge more across the board. You can do it in pieces also. Think about it this way. Contract super clearly with your clients. Make sure they understand the exact boundaries of your contract, exactly what they're getting. And as you work with them, make sure you notify them. We've gotten near the boundary here for this thing. And if we do more of this, we're going to have to charge you more. Or if they bring something new in that was not in your contract, your verbalized and written contract, you probably want to write the contract and go over it with them verbally. If they bring in something that doesn't fit that, you're going to say to them, you know, that's not really what we contracted for. Would you mind if I took a look at this and saw how I can give you the best value on it? And then come back to them with an estimate. If you keep communicating with them about the contract, where they are in it, what fits, what doesn't, you will be able to charge more with minimal pushback. And you'll probably avoid a lot of conflict, right? You're going to have less conflict. The seventh shift is mentoring. And I picked this slide because I had this experience where I was following a mentor in the snow once, and I was literally stepping in his steps in like 2 feet of snow. And it was so much easier for me and so much harder for him. That's kind of what mentoring is like. 2 heads are better than 1. Why? Because even if you're talking to a tree, you get more release than if you're just thinking in your head. And if you're talking to another person, they can actually give you feedback. Would it surprise you to hear that 65% of entrepreneurs fail due to poor decision-making? Most people try to make these shifts that I've been talking about on their own, and they balk. It's kind of like a New Year's resolution. About 25% of all New Year's resolutions happen. A Forbes study shows that only 8% actually hit their goal in 30 days after the New Year's. A 2017 study showed that people who are mentored directly have higher success rates and broader outcomes than those who do not. Breaking out of your own internal dialogue is difficult at best. Without outside help, it's almost impossible. It's kind of like being in a box, and the instructions on how to get out of the box are on the outside. And the only way for you to get those instructions is for someone else to read them to you. Imagine this. You start out helping yourself, doing this on your own again. You get about a third of the way down the road, and something happens. You get dislodged, and all of a sudden you're back on square one. And internally, you start criticizing yourself. Oh man, I can't believe this. I'm back where I started. That Rich Heller guy's a jerk. This never works. I can't believe I listened to him. Imagine what the impact is on yourself, on your business, on your family when that happens. Not making it to the point where you have the systems and you're able to mitigate conflict when it comes up, and you're able to bring in a higher caliber of client and start filtering out the clients that you don't want. Now imagine what it's like if you have the support that you need, so that if and when you drop the ball, someone's there to help you pick it up. Imagine when the next step seems unclear, but you've got another set of eyes to help you identify what it is. Imagine that you inadvertently slip and you lose sight of your own needs and values. There's someone there to remind you what's declared. Mentoring works. You don't climb Mount Everest without a Sherpa. Don't go down these 7 shifts without a mentor. So let's just go over what I promised. My promise was a step-by-step system for bringing the joy back into your work, even in the face of conflict. That you would learn what you can manage in the face of conflict so that you and your client can both win. That you would learn how to interact with your clients so that they feel satisfied to have their needs met in their work with you, even when conflict comes up. That you would learn how to get clear about the kinds of clients that are a good fit and less than a good fit. That you would learn ways to draw more clients to you that are a better fit and filter out the ones who are not. That you would learn how to manage conflict and convert disgruntled clients into fans, raving fans. That you would learn to develop systems so that you can move forward, reducing conflict and managing it when it arises, and why and how to charge more so that you have the money you need to better support yourself, better support clients when there is a problem, and better support your family. All you need is to know yourself, your buttons and your values. Know your clients and their needs. Always be speaking to their needs. Effectively manage conflict when it comes up. You need to develop systems, and you need to invest in mentoring. You can go on having the same conflicts over and over and wondering why things aren't changing fast enough, or you can move forward on these 7 shifts now. You can continue to work hoping that once this one bad client is gone, it'll get easier until the next one pops up. You can continue to spend 80% of your time on interactions that are less than satisfying and wondering where the profit is going, or you can take the first steps to getting your work back on track, to having a dynamic work environment that is evolving and growing, that is drawing in more of your A clients and filtering out those C clients who aren't such a good fit, and you can be making more money. I can help you. I've set aside time over the next 2 days to speak with you and to personally help you apply these ideas to your work. And that is starting now. Whatever your biggest challenges are, I've seen them. We know how to overcome them. We have the tools and the ability to take you to the next step and to the next level. In this session, we will help you formulate a step-by-step plan for your job, for your work, so that you know that with every step, you will make more money and have less negative stress. This is only for people who are willing to take responsibility for their lives and the outcomes of their lives, who are willing to do the hard work when the going gets tough, who are ready, willing, and able to take a look at themselves, who value themselves and their family. I'm on a mission here to help people learn and grow from conflict and to filter out negative conflict in all aspects of their life so that they have healthier and more profitable relationships. Go now to http://bit.ly/reduce conflict now. Spaces are limited, so sign up now. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your attention. Don't hesitate. This is a free consultation. Hit that URL now. Make the appointment. 30 minutes. Whatever the next steps are, I'll help you. No obligation.